Welcome to edition 58 of All Killa No Filla podcast with me, Rachel Fairburn, and Kiri Pritchard-McLean. Just before we start, we'll do a usual disclaimer. This isn't hero worship. We do this podcast because we have mutual interest in serial killers, and as long as we are doing this podcast, it stops us from writing to them in prison.
I'm so sorry. We had been recording this podcast for about 15 minutes and I looked and realised I hadn't pressed record. And we'd just been having a little argument about something.
So I'm glad it wasn't recorded. I said things that I regretted already.
To recap, Rachel's got stains on her shirt from a sausage balm that someone delivered to her, which is, I think, very nice and chivalrous.
It's very sweet, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a gentleman?
It was a gentleman.
That's so euphemistic as well, and be like, sending you a sausage in the post. Hey!
Well, I was messaging him and I said, I'm fucking starving, me. And he sent a sausage balm via delivery.
You're the kind of, whenever you're with someone, they always like want to give you stuff and do stuff for you, make grand gestures. I don't actually. My partner is really great for that, but I've never been a woman who's inspired that kind of devotion.
Well, I don't know. Well, this lovely chap took me to Cornwall as well. Took me for a walk through a field, and I was not happy. I fucking kicked off something rotten. I was like, I'm not fucking walking past that bull. He's quite posh, actually.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. I was like, I'm not walking past that fucking bull. You think I went, do you know what? I've got a podcast to do. I'm not crossing this stream. And he's just like, oh, it's fine. I'll carry you over it. I was like, yeah, thank you very much. Basically, he's a cuckold. And a lovely chap. Let's see how I can ruin it.
Speaking of not lovely chaps, this is episode 58. It's Gordon Frederick Cummins, known as the Blackout Ripper, which I think is it's a cool nickname, that.
This was a suggestion because we asked who we should do for the next one. It is technically a spree killer, but sometimes we deserve a break from relentless years of death. He gets on with this pretty sharpish, but this was a suggestion from on Facebook or Twitter. I can't remember which one. So thank you, the person that did suggest this, because
thanks very much.
I like this. Well, I don't say I like it. I like the time period that this occurs in, and it's in London as well. So it's got atmosphere.
Not for me, this.
It's got atmosphere.
And a quick chat about the live shows. Thank you so much. You've blown us away. We had to put on extra shows for Glasgow, London and Manchester, and they all sold out as well. And we're looking into, I'm loath to say this because what we'll get is like loads of messages. Like, it's really amazing that you bought tickets the way that you did. And like, I was messaging the director of the Frog and Bucket, Jessica, who's brilliant. And she was like, they checked with their tech support, listen, can their website handle a lot of traffic? And they was like, yeah, I think it can handle a little podcast going off sale. Anyway, you guys crashed the website twice. And
we didn't know what was happening either because we were going, the link's wrong, everything's ruined.
But you just kept crashing the website, which is amazing. And then the second extra show to Frog and Bucket sold out in like 45 seconds.
Ridiculous.
Which is fucking mad, yeah. Someone said it's easier to get tickets for Kate Bush than it is to get tickets for you, which is amazing. And we did mention, because we were doing them, they were in the diary, to shows in Leeds and Bristol. We just weren't able to do them. Mm-hmm. And then got loads of people going, you said you're going to do Bristol, you said you're going to do Leeds. I'm like, I promise you, we are trying.
Yeah.
And we're still working on it. We've just had a meeting about it now. We're trying our best. We can't, like, they're like, you can do a show at 11 a.m. And we're like, no, I'm not doing a show at 11 a.m.
No one's going to enjoy that.
No one's going to do it. I just can't, like, we can't physically do it.
Also, we don't expect you guys to get out of bed at...
Yeah, fuck that noise.
Yeah.
So we are trying. Bristol and Leeds, and possibly even Liverpool, but I don't know if anyone will come, are on the list to try and make it happen. It was so funny. You were on a fucking plane, and I just turned to everyone's tech support. So people are like messaging me, being like, when I put my 3-digit code into the thing, it doesn't. And I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do about this. They're like, the website's difficult to read, and I'm like, you're gonna have to take that up with the Birmingham Glee, mate. Like,
when I got off that plane, my WhatsApp went ping, ping,
yeah.
Ping. I was like, what the fuck has happened?
And I'm just get like, it's not even like, so people are like, oh, excuse me, like people were being really rude. I'm like, I don't want to go into a room with you. Please leave me alone.
When people went, is it sold out or not?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've just got off a plane. I don't know.
And also the mad thing is, like, it's just because we chat to everyone and speak back to everyone on stuff. unless they're an incel, and in which case we will block you. I guess most people who are selling these kind of tickets don't ever deal with the other side of it.
Yeah.
Whereas we're like quite hands-on, but it just means that sometimes people are like, this takes the absolute piss, and we're like, we're just trying to do something nice, I promise you.
Do you know, I've had, it's sold so well that I've had like mates of mine go, I can't get tickets. I'm like, mate, I can't, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll try and do my best, but you know, can't do everything, can I? It's a shame, but tough shit.
That's the spirit, mate. But basically, thank you very much.
Yeah, honestly, we do appreciate it.
And people are like, when are you coming to America? And we were like, we're just fucking there. We've just come back. We were there until nearly October. So, we're doing Gordon Frederick Cummins.
Yes.
The Blackout Ripper. So, he was born on the 18th of February 1914. So, that's the 1480, first year that the First World War was on, a gig. He was born in York, which is quite near to York, and altogether he killed 4 women.
Over 6 days.
Yeah.
He was not fucking about.
No.
And it's really strange as well because before he was convicted of these murders, he had no criminal record whatsoever and no known history of violence. So he just... God knows what happened, like what made him do it.
But it could have been like the horrors of war. But it also could have been like this weird sort of like no one's going to live tomorrow thing has just unleashed something in him.
Yeah.
So growing up, he was from quite a good family. He's a very good looking guy as well. He's only like 28 when all this happens. Well educated. He used to say he was the illegitimate son of like nobility, like a lord, but was like, I don't want to go into it, but my dad's a lord.
They called him the Duke, didn't they?
Yeah, the Duke and the Count they used to call him.
Because he was in the RAF. He joined. He was a Royal Air Force serviceman. So all his mates used to call him the Duke.
Yeah, he was conscripted in 1941 and joined the RAF. I've got here that he was a leading aircraftman, but I don't know what that is. And then he was married in 1936 to a woman, and this shows you how women are consigned to the annals in history. How is she described in everything?
She was described as a theatre producer secretary,
which is shit, innit? Yeah. Like you're defined by your boss's job. That's fucking shit, that.
So, theatre producer secretary, this is...
Imagine that on a gravestone. Wife of murderer and secretary of theatre producer.
An admin assistant.
Yeah.
She...
Day-to-day admin.
I always think theatre producer secretary, as you said, it does sound like a euphemism, but also it sounds to me a job where it's just a woman who has to tolerate being screamed at by a failed actor.
Yeah, someone with an undiagnosed mental health problem.
Yeah,
screaming at a woman and throwing coffee mugs at her every sort of 3 weeks.
Very strange description of the woman. Although maybe she wanted to stay out of the. Maybe she didn't want anything to do with it when all this came out. Maybe she was like,
"Oh yeah, that's true." Maybe she's like, "Don't put my name out there."
So he. What's that noise?
Oh, well, there's constantly construction work going on because it's London and there's too many people.
Sounds like murdered geese. Like ah!
Sounds like a drill, doesn't it?
I need to get my ears checked. So he volunteered to retrain as I think it was air crew. He was posted to Regent's Park in London. Lovely park. And then, this is depressing, they often got posted to Blackpool before being sent overseas to fight.
No way to treat anyone, is it?
No, it's not. No, it's not. So
1942, it's February the 8th. Now, he goes to visit his wife, and while he's there, he borrows some money. Mm-hmm. With that money, has a night out on the West End. I think we both have the same ex-partner. And the Sunday, the 8th of February, is where he does his first murder that we're going to talk about here. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about it more at the end. There might be some more. So this is Miss Evelyn Hamilton.
Yeah.
She's 40 years old.
Mm-hmm. She wasn't a sex worker.
It's weird that that's out of the blue, but it's because all the others
because all
were.
The other women were.
Introduce every woman like that. This is Rachel Fairburn. She's not a sex worker.
She might be dressed like one, but she isn't. She was a pharmacist, and she was... how did they meet each other? It doesn't say. They just came across each other, didn't they?
Yeah, so they were basically out and bumped into each other.
Yeah.
And then we're like, hey, let's go for it. So he takes her to an air raid shelter near Marble Arch. This is very like Monopoly board. It hits all the points. And they think that they don't know if he attacked her and then took her there or attacked her in the air raid shelter, but her handbag was stolen, had 80 quid in it, which is a lot of fucking money now.
Is a lot of money.
If I lost 80 quid, I'd be fucking fuming.
Although, maybe, instead of putting it in the bank, maybe she was a sex worker, that was money that she'd kept with her, or maybe, so if you think your house is going to get bombed in the war, you might just keep all things that matter to you on your person.
Yeah, especially because there's looting going on as well.
Yeah, you could just go home and you've got fuck all left. So...
I wouldn't keep it in my handbag though, I'd fucking keep it on my knickers or something.
I know, but in that time, when you the thought that you're just going to die at any moment and you're just trying to boff everyone, your knickers are on and off all the time, mate.
That's true. That's true. What would I keep on? Socks.
It was
keep them in my socks.
Was it Eartha Kitt towards the end of was it Eartha Kitt
who sings Santa Baby?
Yeah, I think I'll have to check this. It might be Eartha Kitt. So towards the end of her life, she became very paranoid that people were trying to rob her. Obviously had some sort of form of dementia. And she used to keep rolled up money.
Up her fanny. Good for her.
I hope it's her so you can say Eartha Kitt. But this is... Have a check, because this is...
I will be Googling
This is legit.
That. It also sounds like something Nina Simone would do.
Yeah.
Because she had a fucking rough old life, didn't she?
Oh, yeah. She gets discovered... It's the day after, isn't it? This is Monday the 9th of February 1942. She was murdered on the Sunday, I think. She was found on Monday the 9th. So Frederick Cherrell, who was a fingerprint expert, he actually visited the scene. He was quite a senior person in the police, and he was ahead of his field at the time. He used to visit the crime scenes, and he took some fingerprints.
What am I searching here? Eartha Kitt money fanny? Because that feels like a Bond thing.
It's actually my friend Mitchell who told me this.
Well, I'm searching Eartha Kitt money fanny.
I'm hoping I'm not spreading...
No, I've just got loads of images of bum bags.
I'd rather keep my money in my fanny than in a bum bag. Oh no, I feel like I've said something wrong here. It's like when Jason said to us yesterday about... So our lovely friend Jason, we had a meeting with him yesterday and he was talking to us about... We were talking about Chernobyl for some reason. And then he started telling us about how in the future, in 10,000 years, a nuclear reactor button, people will only be able to recognise it because of the way language is changing by a picture of a cat.
Yeah.
And as he's telling us this, he starts to lose confidence in what he's saying. Yeah. And he just said... I've not been listening to what somebody's told me here, have I? And you've got a lot of questions and I can't provide any answers.
So the second thing that comes up is when you search Eartha Kitt hide money in vagina, is a Reddit about the best way to store drugs in your vagina.
Oh, wow.
Fucking hell.
The best way, surely, it would be in a Johnner.
Well, here, I guess it would be like a tampon. This is someone who doesn't know how women work. Do you mean like put it in a tampon? How do you think tampons work? It's not like you don't click it open.
They're not sort of like, they're not useful, they're only used for one thing. Does he think you click it open?
I don't know what he thinks. Brilliant. Well, there's some amazing advice on here. You don't even need a string because people are like, oh, you need something with a string. That's why they're suggesting tampons. It's not like shoving it in your butt where it could get stuck up there. Your cervix will keep it from going too far out of your reach. It might just take a little more fishing around in there, but nothing is lost forever. Beautiful. It turns into like a philosophy at the end.
Is it weird that this is making my mouth go dry?
With not the only thing going dry on me, mate.
For the record, I am not intending on smuggling drugs, and neither is Kiri, so...
No, I don't do drugs anyway. I certainly wouldn't do them out of my foof.
Oh. No.
I can pretty much vouch for my vagina, but... Still don't want to put anything up my nose or in my mouth or into my vein.
Imagine if you have a very spacious vagina, that'd be really useful for drug smuggling.
Or just like, you know, when you get in on a plane and you can't have bottles over a certain amount.
Oh, do you know, I genuinely think, and I know safety is paramount.
It's got nothing to do with safety, it's a racket.
It's becoming a joke now.
It's a racket. So there was this thing done where they were like, there's no bomb that's ever been made out of over 100 millilitres of liquid. Just isn't a thing. It's a way to fuck it so boots can bend you over and shaft you.
I genuinely, go to an airport now. I've had so much stuff taken off me when I went on that plane the other day.
Really?
Yeah, but I just go, I'll see what I can get through with. Hair mousse. I've had perfume taken off me in the past. And you know what fucks me off? You just know that the people that have put them to one side, you know that they're well going to nick some of that
Do you
later
reckon?
on. Oh, of course they do. Of course they do.
Will someone let us know? Because I've got a feeling, I've always thought that about. I was like, no, benefit of the doubt. But if you work at an airport, is it just a free-for-all at the end of the day?
Of course.
But everyone who works at an airport that I've seen has got fucking mad hair. Like the women, do you know what I mean? Like the women who work there would be like black roots to about their sort of the top of their ears, and then cornrows from there afterwards with like dreadlocks on the end. Like the maddest hairstyles I've seen.
That's what they want you to think, so you don't think that they're taking your products that you have.
Well, I know there's something going on
in
there.
your stow luggage.
Do you know what fucks me off is when I flew, can't remember where I was flying, I nearly fucking spat in the guy's face. But so I went through all fine, flew to Dublin, and then on the way back I was flying to somewhere else, and he was like, oh, you can't have this, it's too big. I went, well, I've flown here with it and it was absolutely fine. No, they shouldn't have let you through. And I was like, why? And he was like, this bottle's 125 millilitres. I was like, yeah, but it's half empty. He's like, yeah, but it's got to be the thing. And I was like, what? He's like, got to be because you could have that much in the container. I was like, but I mean, we can both see that there isn't. He's like, oh, I just can't let you have it. And I was like, you're being fucking ridiculous. And it was like Lush stuff as well. So I'm like, oh, it's going to be like fucking, 20 quid I'm throwing away.
It's because of that fucking shoe bomber, isn't it?
Yeah, but we'll ban shoes then and matches. Don't ban fucking... I'm not doing it with Veganese conditioner, am I?
The fact is, if something's going to happen, it's going to happen. And no amount of putting in a little plastic bag and buying miniature shampoos of Aussie hair stuff is going to change it. Anyway, back to what we're talking about. So, I don't know how I got onto this. The fingerprint expert, Frederick Charrell, he takes some fingerprints. He discovers that because the killer, the fingerprints they find all belong to the victim, but they have, bruising on the victim's neck because she's been strangled. He worked out that it was a left-handed person who'd committed the murder. So they didn't have, a bag had gone missing. They had no idea who the woman was. They went door to door, and eventually in Marylebone, always have trouble saying that, Marylebone. That's right.
It's not spelt right, yeah.
Someone recognised her from, I think they managed to get some ID card or something. She was identified from there. So police didn't really know. The thing is as well, the crime rate in London at this time during the Blitz was so high as well.
Yeah.
Because people were just, A, shitting it.
Yeah.
And B, going a bit mad, I think.
It's last days of Rome stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. So there was a lot of sex workers around. I don't know if this is true. We need to check this. I read something that said it was in 1959 that street prostitution became illegal, which is strange. So I think people, there wasn't enough police around. A lot of murders were being committed and being covered up by people just throwing the bodies in.
Like bombed out houses.
Yeah. So
it's like H.H. Holmes used to do that. He'd stage those. He'd stage like a crash scene and then claim on the insurance.
So there was a lot going on, and obviously, people were thinking, I could die at any minute.
Yeah. Let's
bang. So
that's why everyone fucks when they're on drugs at a festival. Like I could just die any minute.
Oh God, I hate festivals so much. I can't stand them. Do you like? You don't like them, do you?
No. I don't like camping. I've got a whole routine in my stand-up at the moment.
Cannot deal with it.
Just like, even when you're clean, you're never quite clean at a festival.
All you're thinking about is home.
Yeah, and like everything feels crispy.
Yeah, and your teeth never feel clean.
Yeah, your hair feels stiff. Ugh. Yeah, horrible. So,
the next day...
Yeah, literally, on the Sunday, the 9th of Feb, he murders Mrs. Evelyn Oatley. She's 35 years old. She is a sex worker. And this is fucking brutal. He strangles her and then cuts her throat using a tin opener, which is just horrific.
He also uses... Oh, it says here, actually, I think her throat was cut with a razor, but he used the can opener to sexually mutilate her.
Oh, fucking hell.
Which is horrific. But, and this isn't me trying to be funny, because I said this to you, and I'm not trying to make this as a joke. He used a tin opener, can opener. He's left-handed.
Isn't that, like, that and scissors are, like, the notoriously hard
that
things
would
to
be
use.
really, I don't know, difficult thing to do.
Oh, it's so horrible. Oh, because also I'm trying to imagine what kind of can opener it was, because it would have been those ones that was just, like, a stick with a little hook on the end, right?
Yeah. I struggle with can openers, you know me. It's, every use one, I feel absolutely thick, because it takes me about 10 minutes to attach it. I can't get my head around them.
Okay.
I love the ring pull.
Oh, no, I don't try... Because, no, fuck those. Because then you've basically got a lethal weapon on the end of your hand. I think tins are horrible anyway. Do you know what I never understood how to use? But I used to... You remember those... I think corned beef had it. They have a key on the side.
Oh, yeah, you're supposed to roll it.
Yeah.
Spam and corned beef,
Yeah. Well, I used to, like... I remember them being in the cupboard at home, and I used to like the keys. I thought they were cool, so I just pull the key off and, like, hide it in my room. And so my mum's got all these fucking tins that she can't open because it's, like, this specific thing. And then there's just, like, a shoebox full of fucking keys under my bed like a maniac. It's weird what you get attached to when you're a kid, isn't it? Like, weird little things to carry around or collect that feels like...
Like stones and things like that. Yeah,
stone. I remember I had a little wooden box that I've still got. I had these nice stones I'd found in it. I remember this one was like a lumber quartz and it was a bit dirty, and because I'm a pig, I think I must have told you this, popped it in my mouth. So I was like, that'll clean it up.
Oh.
So I sat there with it in my mouth, like this tiny little smooth thing. Just was like minding my own business, swallowed it, didn't I? So, like, I was too scared to tell my mum, so I just had to, like, it's probably still in me. Or what's it called? Not esophagus. Appendix is...
Was it big?
Yeah. It was like the size of...
And you can feel it go down you...
I mean, I fucking swallowed it, mate. Yeah, you can feel it go down.
Oh my God.
It's like the size of 2 minstrels on top of each other.
That scared the shit out of me. I've got a real fear of choking.
I can literally feel something inside me now. It's like stone kicking off. But your appendix, because everyone has to get it... Well, people have to get it removed. I think that is a hangover from when we used to digest stones, and it is that's where they would go. So there's probably just one piece of beautiful quartz in me right now.
She's got a beautifully decorated appendix. Absolutely gorgeous.
Do you look as good outside as you do on the inside of your appendix?
That's horrible. It goes through in 2 different levels. That one, a stone hitting your teeth.
Well, I was just sucking it, so wrong.
Right, mate. Well, and then oh no, I'd be absolutely terrified. Absolutely terrified.
Broken china as well I used to collect. I think I've told you that before.
I think you mentioned that, yeah.
Fucking weird, innit?
So, Evelyn, who was also known as Nita Ward, again, she was discovered, and the fingerprint expert came in. Again, the fingerprints suggested that this was somebody who was left-handed, because the fingerprints were on the can opener and on various other things, because the murder was committed at a flat on Wardour Street.
So Tuesday the 10th of February, Margaret Florence Lowe, 42, she was also known as Pearl, she was murdered in her flat. She's also a sex worker. Her flat was on Gosfield Street.
Yeah. She was 43 years old as well.
Oh, I've got 42, but...
Well, what's a year?
Well, let's round it down, eh? Let's do a favour.
42.
I don't mean that, by the way. I don't think any woman should be funny about her age. It took them 3 days to find the body.
Ugh.
But when they did, they were like, this is the same person. Mm-hmm. So the 3rd body is when they start to make a link.
She'd been strangled with a silk stocking. She'd been mutilated with a razor blade, a knife, and a poker as well. These are brutal, these murders.
They're really savage, isn't it? There's a real, hatred of women there.
There's a chap called Bernard Spilsbury, which sounds like a name in a book that's made up by somebody who can't really write, who's not very good at names, doesn't it?
Bernard Spilsbury lived at number 1 Apple Tree Lane.
He was a pathologist, and he described the murders as quite dreadful. And he said that it was the work of a savage sexual maniac. So obviously, as I was saying about crime in London at the time, looting was rife. People actually suggested as well, if anyone was caught looting, they should be shot. It's very dramatic. The War Reserve was supplementing with the police, and they were given guns. So if they saw someone looting, they were like, "Oh, we can shoot them." You had servicemen coming back who had their guns, so they just kept them with them.
Fucking hell.
So this is an example of sort of how violent it was, really. A man came back from service, and he caught his girlfriend with another man, and he shot them. Someone went bonkers at Oxford University in the quad.
A lot of them do, to be fair. It's the pressure, innit?
Shot quite a few people in the quad.
Really?
Yeah.
If I was going to spray bullets into any area, I think it would be the quad at Oxford University.
Oxford. There was a lot of gun crime around as well. So these murders weren't necessarily linked or reported until this one. This is when sort of the police start to get in, the papers start to get involved. I'm very inarticulate today. I think I'm tired. So by now, this is is it 2 or 3 murders we're on now?
We're on the third.
Third,
Going
and
into
we've
the
come to the fourth.
Yeah.
This was Wednesday the 11th.
Yeah.
He's not fucking about.
No.
32-year-old Doris Jeannet, also known as Doris Robson. She was in Leicester Square. She was a sex worker. She was murdered in her own home as well, in the ground floor flat that she shared with her husband, who was a hotel manager.
So that's in Paddington. She's 32 years old.
Oh, is this the Paddington one?
Yeah, and that's where they go back there, and she's killed in her own flat.
I don't know if Paddington is my worst train station in the universe.
It's just...
I hate it.
Really? Why?
Oh my God, I just think it's really depressing and crap. I don't like Paddington Bear either.
Why?
'Cause I just don't like him. I just think he's irritating.
Have you read them?
Yeah, I read him as a kid.
What, and the whole time you're like, oh, this little cunt.
Just not for me.
Really?
He's irritating. I don't know where it is, he annoys me.
How do you feel about Winnie the Pooh?
Like the original, can't stand the Disney.
Really?
Yeah, the Disney can fuck off. Yeah, Paddington though. It's just not for me. Never.
He's so benign. I'm amazed that you can have like strong feelings on him.
I think. Do you remember when I was in Edinburgh and I tried to impress that man? By being charming and I fucked it.
Oh, you've told that before.
Have I told it?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's why.
I think it's that. I think you're projecting your own inability to remember where Paddington Bear was found onto the actual bear.
King's Cross Bear. Oh, God. Yeah, that station, Paddington. In fact, tweet us. What's your least favourite?
Don't tweet us that. Don't tweet us that. I don't care. No one cares.
What's your least favourite public transit
I tell you what mine is, Victoria Coach Station.
Oh,
It's
that's
fucking
hideous.
grim.
Yeah, that's awful.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it's awful.
It stinks. There's an air of desperation because the only thing that leaves from there is mega buses and National Expresses. It's horrible.
It is horrible.
Sick.
It is horrible, and nothing's open. Like in times past.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
You had a drink before you came
No,
here.
I'm just really tired.
You went to a coffee shop. You bought me a vegan cake, which
I
is
did.
very kind.
I did.
Coffee shop that's shutting down, right?
Very sad, yeah. I walked in, there was 3 women in there who more or less fell over chairs to serve me. There was no music on. I don't even drink coffee, and I felt like I had to get a cappuccino or something, just, to contribute. But then I saw the cake, and I was like, I'll get that for you.
Very sweet.
There we go.
But you said they had a sign on the door that was like, we're shutting in April.
It's very sad.
And you would just shut now, wouldn't you, and give yourself a couple of weeks off?
And there's a Costa across the road, so we know what's happened there.
Oof. Brutal.
I've got a real... I might have mentioned this before. I've got a intense dislike
Well, there's a lot of things that have started with that.
of... So, food in, like, coffee shops.
Paninis.
Like paninis. Like, so if you're in a Starbucks or a Costa or some shit like that, and they have those paninis that like the plastic. Or like those salads that, were made 3 days ago.
Yeah.
I hate them.
I like Pret.
Pret's good. It's fresh.
Yeah.
But it's more sandwiches than coffee, though.
Any sandwich I can see sweating on a breadboard under a thing, I'm not a fan of.
No.
And yeah, when salads are like, go on, leave me.
Yeah.
I'll be fine, you go ahead. When it's like all wilted and sad at the sides.
I'll be fine.
I had a Pret this morning, so I went and did a voiceover, and had to talk about coleslaws for 90 minutes this morning. That was the first thing that I did. And on the way back, I went to Pret, got a sandwich. So what always happens is I never have breakfast before I go there, because I would have to get up early, so I don't. And then about 40 minutes into the voice recording, you've got headphones on, I can hear my own stomach, which means everyone in that other room can hear my stomach being like, blah, blah, blah.
It's embarrassing, isn't it?
It's so embarrassing. They're like, yeah, no, I'm an adult woman who doesn't know when to feed herself. So yeah,
Is it feeding time yet?
So I went to Pret a Manger and got, because they do a vegan baguette that I like. So I got a sandwich that I liked, and it's got tomatoes in it. The tomatoes were fizzy. That's a bad sign, isn't it?
Oh, so a bit of a tang to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was like, this is fizzy.
Yeah, that's when they...
It's not right,
no,
is it?
it's not right.
Ugh.
No.
I hate having off stuff by mistake.
Milk's the one.
Milk,
like,
fucking me. Oh no, I've told you that.
What?
My dad and the prawns, I've definitely told you that.
Have you?
I fucking definitely told you this. When we ordered a Chinese from where I'm from in Wales, so we all sat down, everyone's opening bags, eating stuff. My dad's fucking hoofing down these massive king prawns. I've definitely told you this. And I get the prawns, go to put them on my plate. They are fucking stinking. Like, because the smell of seafood when it's off is unreal. Like, because it's so bad for us, we react to it because our bodies are going, don't you dare put that in you. And I was like, fucking hell, these are off. They stink. My dad was like, what's that? And he's eaten like half a dozen of them. And I was like, these prawns are stinking. And he went, oh, I thought they were a bit tangy. And he's just eaten like loads of off prawns.
Was he ill?
No, he wasn't. I'm like, and then I never saw him again. Like, you should die from that.
In fact, if anything, made him healthier.
Yeah. He just did like a big fart later on that night and he's all cleared out.
Speaking of seafood, genuinely, right? So I'm allergic to shellfish and some other fish, and I don't eat fish anyway, which I'm sure I've mentioned. If one more person questions me on being allergic to it as if I'm making it up,
For attention.
I'm gonna fucking lose my shit.
What do you mean, like in restaurants?
No, like, so if I'm sitting with Will Duggan, I'm telling you, he's gonna spike me one day. Why are you allergic? I went, I don't know why I'm allergic to it, but I am, because it makes my face swell up, and I've been to the hospital with it in the past, and I don't eat it, and I also don't like it, which is handy. So I didn't realise I was allergic to it until I was in my 20s, when I accidentally ate some of it, and my face... It's just a coincidence. And he's like, yeah, but... I'm like, no, I can't, it's not something I'm making up. But it's not just Will that does it. So many people do it. Like, go, well, what kind of seafood are you allergic to? Also, even if I wasn't allergic to it, and I just didn't fucking like it, I'll choose to eat what I choose to fucking eat. If I don't want to eat something, I won't fucking eat it.
But is it like, so my friend Ben from Goose is a celiac. So he'll be like, oh, is there any gluten in this? And they'll be like, are you a celiac? Or, because some people are like, I'm not having gluten. And that's different to him, because if he has gluten, he will piss out of his ass for 3 days. So they're trying to ascertain, are you allergic? Or is this a like fad or a dietary requirement that's not the same as being horrifically allergic?
But I always say, like, if I go to certain restaurants and I'll say, I've got a seafood allergy, kind of anything with fishing. And sometimes it's like, oh, I have been asked, are you allergic or you just don't like it? No, I'm fucking allergic to it. I wish I'd have saved the picture where my face, like, swelled up when I accidentally ate something with prawns in it.
Really?
Yeah, I had to go to the hospital. I was really, really poorly. And I was vomiting, and my face had, like, swollen up. I had a rash all over it.
Who sneaks prawns into stuff?
Oh, no, it was, my boyfriend at the time was eating special fried rice, and I was pissed.
Right.
I didn't know it was special fried rice, and I...
hoofed it down.
Yeah, and then that's what happened. But... genuinely, it's like, I'm not making it up. If I was going to make something up for attention, I'd pretend like this guy and say I was from royalty.
Yeah.
I'm not going to... if the best I can come up with is a seafood allergy.
Yeah. Prawns make me boo-boo.
Yeah.
It's not like... it's hardly like the attention grab that you'd want. I guess people think it's a sort of like mild form of Munchausen, don't they?
But the thing is as well, even if... sometimes people just don't like something. Like, I don't like lemongrass. I hate it. I think it tastes disgusting.
It's great.
It just doesn't... there's certain things people just don't like to eat. And when people go, well, I'm sure you'd like it if you tried it with this, it's like, no, sometimes people just don't like something.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, that's me. I don't even know how I got onto this.
So, Friday the 13th of February, Greta Hayward is his next victim. But thankfully he doesn't get to murder her. So he meets her in Piccadilly Circus, takes her to an air raid shelter. Just as he's sort of midway through the murder, a delivery boy turns up.
Yep, apparently she'd rejected his sexual advances several times in the evening as well. Delivery boy, 18-year-old it says night porter delivery boy, 18 years old. He interrupted the murder. Now,
interrupted, such a funny word in, like, excuse me, I know you're just in the middle of a murder right now.
Sorry. So he interrupts. Thing is, though, he's actually wearing his RAF uniform as he's committing this murder, which obviously is bizarre. So Mary was barely conscious, but she was alive. So he goes to get some help.
Oh, she's Greta and Mary, by the way.
Yeah, everyone's got a different name here, haven't they? So he... there's an incident that happens that helps his capture here, because in his hurry to get away, he left his gas mask case, which was issued by the RAF, which had his identification number in, which was 525-987. 0161 525 987.
And you have to beat that out.
Whose fucking number's that? Nobody's. There's no numbers in Manchester that start with 5.
Oh, good fact.
Is it? I should use that as a chat line. Did you know there are no numbers in Manchester that begin with 5? And do you know what? If there are, please don't tweet me. Please don't. So he leaves that behind. The fingerprint expert comes in, gets some fingerprints, and he does crack on again though, because it's not finished.
Because it's not like as simple as running this number in a computer. So the police are trying to trace this gas mask, but obviously they'll have to go through like literal paperwork. So the same night, Friday the 13th, just realised, Friday the 13th, he attacks another sex worker.
Yeah.
So this is Mrs. Catherine Mulcahy,
also known as Kathleen King. She was a sex worker. Now, she worked with, a lot of the girls that she worked with used to find her quite interesting because she dressed very conservatively for a sex worker and spoke in a very nice accent, and they used to call her the lady. Which,
the lady and the count.
Lady and the duke. So they met in Piccadilly, and then they went to her flat in Marble Arch.
So he gives her £5 and was like, right, let's bang. So they get in a taxi and to Paddington, I've got here.
Yes.
So they go to her flat. She starts taking her clothes off. She keeps her boots on, though, because she's not fucking around, because it's cold. Imagine February in, like, the 40s. It would be freezing, wouldn't it? Because it's not like, I'll just keep the heating on while I'm out. Like, it's going to be freezing. So she keeps her boots on. She's taking her clothes off, and she said as she does, a strange look comes over his face, and he grabs her by the throat, and he just starts strangling her. Then she fucking kicks him in the shins. She's got her boots on, thank God.
Yep.
He sort of panics, gives her another £5, and then scarpers and leaves his belt behind.
He's very forgetful, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's like it's such a weird thing as well to be like, oh, sorry I nearly killed you, here's a £5 for your trouble.
Yeah. Very, very odd. So the papers were all going mad for this. They started to call him the Blackout Ripper, and women were scared. It was being reported in all the papers, not just the tabloids. And then what happens is the night porter who had interrupted the thing, they obviously have the gas mask, the police, with the serial number. So they pay him a visit at his barracks. Do you call them barracks if it's the RAF?
Yeah,
sure.
I reckon. So the police trace him. Now he's got an alibi because on the signing in and out book, he's signed in every night there was a murder before midnight. So they're like, we can't have done it because
he was here.
He was here. These all happened after midnight. And then they ask like a few more questions and find out that it's very common for the airmen to sign each other in and out.
Nobody has respect for a signing in sheet. They don't. The amount of fucking ducking and diving. When I used to work at the library, it'd be like, I'm going to have an extra 20 minutes on my dinner. Can you just sign me in at 2 o'clock? You'd be like, yeah, mate, no worries. Oh, yeah, I forgot to sign out. You'd ring up the desk, I forgot to sign out. Will you sign me out? Brilliant. No one has any respect for a fucking signing in sheet. And then they bring in the booty ones.
Yeah, but you can still do that. It doesn't have to be they don't scan your retina.
I know, but if you have one of those proximity cards that beep when you come into the building, if you really want to see what someone's been up to, you can look to a thing.
I hate that technology's, like, not letting us fuck the system as much.
Yeah. Can't get away with anything now.
It's bullshit.
So obviously they find out that people are taking the piss, rightly so, with the signing-in sheet.
On the first murder, they find out that they'd all signed in and then all fucked off out of a fire escape and gone for a night on the town.
Fucking hell.
So they're like, right, well, we know there's at least one. Well, Evelyn Oatley it was, actually, that he was at the house for. So they search him there and then, and they find in his tunic, fuck knows what year this is in now, tunic.
This is like medieval now.
Yeah, they get him off his jousting horse. And they find a cigarette case belonging to Margaret Lowe.
Yeah, a pen that belonged to Doris, and a comb belonging to one of the other victims as well.
They check his fingerprints and they match those of the tin opener.
Yeah.
So his trial, they do not fuck around.
He's arrested the day before his 28th birthday as well.
So the 27th of April 1942, his trial begins.
Oh, we must say this as well. So the original trial was the 23rd of April 1942, and it was interrupted by the judge because they were shown a wrong exhibit, the jury. So the jury were entirely dismissed and a new jury brought in. That's a fuck up, innit, at work?
It's massive. Like, because also, like, what are they showing it? And be like, stood before you is a murderer who's murdered the lives of 4 women. Our first exhibit, and be like, is that a stuffed crocodile? Like, what the fuck are they wheeling out? So, yeah, he's charged. Now, interestingly, they charged him with Evelyn Oatley's murder. And the trial judge was Lord Justice Asquith. Now, the reason why they only charged him with one murder is because they thought, if that gets acquitted, we'll just fucking charge him with one of the others straight away. Rather than putting him on a 4, let's try and get him done for one. And if that doesn't work, let's try and get him done for one of the others. Which is, do you know what? There's been some good policing in this. I won't say it very often.
Considering the time that this was all happening.
Yeah, because they've got bigger stuff to worry about, like actual Nazis. Cummins is represented by Mr. J. Flowers. Now, the whole trial is a single day. And they dismiss the jury, who take a full 35 minutes to find him guilty.
Well, he also, as well, he claimed his complete innocence as well. He was like, oh, we used to share gas masks. It's like, right, but your fingerprints are on everything, mate.
Yeah.
You're not getting away with this. The jury, this is brilliant. This is my kind of trial. The jury retired at 4 o'clock. 35 minutes later, they come back with a verdict.
That's 12 people having a piss, isn't it? Someone opening a window and everyone's smoking out of it and then going back in.
Well, I was going to say going out for a quick ciggy, but in those days, they'd been smoking indoors, wouldn't they?
That's true.
So,
yeah, that's true. So, he appealed, and Lord Chief Justice Humphrey was like, absolutely not, and dismissed it. So he goes to Wandsworth Prison, where he is executed. He's 28 years old, and he's executed on the June 25th. He's hanged.
He doesn't... his family as well tried to stop him being executed. They start a campaign and send letters to stop him going through the death penalty for him. Cummins himself wrote to the Archbishop of Canterbury and the Prime Minister's wife, who I assume at the Prime Minister at the time was Winston Churchill. Would that be correct?
Second, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, Chamberlain led us into it, doesn't he?
42.
With appeasement, but yeah.
So, yeah, he writes to... And they all go, thanks for your letter. However, the evidence against you is overwhelming. We're not talking to the Queen about you.
Yeah, we're not bringing it up.
Yeah, so he's hanged on the 25th of June, 1942.
Interestingly, as he's being led to the gallows, an air raid was in progress.
Atmospheric.
Very atmospheric.
Yeah.
Also means quite a shit turnout to watch, I imagine. You're not gonna risk being bombed. Does that mean they had to do it in the dark, like an old Alton Towers ride?
It must have been.
Yeah, because it would have meant that there was, unless it's. Did air raids happen during the day? Yeah, there must have been.
They must have done, yeah.
So, so as he's led to the gallows, they hear the air raid thing. Now, years later, Scotland Yard said that they think he was responsible for 2 more murders in October 1941, which would make sense, that because it's very full on to kill that many people.
Yeah.
I imagine there's at least 2 more that he was responsible for.
Yeah.
He's a horror. It's fascinating to me when people exploit a situation like a war.
It's just bizarre that he never had any history of anything that we know of, and then he just did this.
Yeah, it's quite full on, isn't it?
It's also, I find it interesting that there's a complete lack of what he's like as a person.
Yeah.
We don't really know.
Bit posh, handsome.
That's it.
Definitely looks older than 28.
They all did though, didn't they?
Yeah, it's those little moustaches.
Yeah.
Ages anyone that.
It does. But yeah, that's him.
That's it. That's a quick one.
It was.
Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it.
We do.
Is there anything else that we wanted to say? Thanks to everyone who's come to see me on tour. Very kind of you. Few dates with tickets still left if you want to come see me. Thanks so much to everyone who's bought tickets for the live show. Oh, I didn't talk about this with you. I talked about it on the Facebook Live video.
Oh, she says.
Oh, I didn't talk about this with you. If we were to do Christmas shows, which I know we've sort of talked about, because we love doing them this year, this is... Maybe we should not talk about this on the podcast, but... Jimmy Savile. Because we do something a bit different at Christmas.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Although, I will say this. It's funny because... I'm going to sound right cunt here, but I'm going to say it anyway. Sometimes, like... I think people who do similar podcasts to us listen to our podcast.
Here we go. Yes, conspiracy theory.
I don't listen to any other podcasts, to be honest. I mean, we barely have time to fit this in, let alone listen to stuff.
I listen to Truth and Justice with Bob Ruff.
I like Case File. I always think the guy's voice, you don't know if he's going to tell you off or fuck you. And he's got quite a nice voice. And it's fine, people can do what they want. But I think sometimes that people listen to us, because we've suggested doing certain, Jimmy Savile as a thing. It's funny when someone puts out an episode about Jimmy Savile. You're like...
Because he's just a really famous criminal.
But also, he's not a murderer. So why would you be thinking of, I'm going to do... I just hate unoriginality. And I just get really fed up of, like... I don't like... what's the word? Tribute acts to something that is, current.
I think it's a conspiracy theory, mate.
No, I think people are unoriginal, and I think it's weird, and I think come up with your own ideas. And also try and do a live show. Good luck with that.
They're not doing live shows, are they?
No, they fuck. That's what I mean. I'd love to go and see some of these people try these things. But no, I mean, I don't give a shit, but sometimes I go, come on. Get your own fucking ideas.
I don't think we've got a monopoly on murder.
No, we've not got a monopoly, but I think sometimes it's a bit like if you listen to something and it's a bit right. Do you know what it's a bit like? So you'll relate to this. So when you do a joke as a comedian about a certain thing and then someone you're gigging with, you see them again, and it's like, oh, you've got a joke on this subject now, have you?
Yeah.
After you've seen me do that. I'll tell you did that to me recently, and I wasn't very happy. After we've recorded this. I think it was a real cunt move. But yeah, that kind of thing. It's like, it's fine to be inspired by people, but don't rip off or jump ahead.
Yeah, but
But ultimately, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I just never worried about this because I think that, like, people listen to different podcasts because they want different things from them. So, as a listener, you can like what you like, and we can only be the best us.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's just that little unoriginal. There's no way that I feel that someone could have come up with that on their own accord.
I think with Jimmy Savile, it's not
if
niche.
it's murder.
People are like, well, I mean, if anything, it'd be us who should be touching it because we're serial killers, and he's not. Anyway, agree to disagree on this. Thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate it.
Yes.
I'm excited about the next one that we're doing. Is that one I sent you the other day?
Yeah, we'll
that
do
Indonesian guy.
That'll be good.
One of you guys suggested is fascinating. We'll try and get that out nice and soon, actually. Thanks so much for listening.
You,
See you
bye.
on tour.